Hi everyone, it's Elliot here, and in today's video I want to talk about a brand new film called The Light Between Oceans. This is a deeply moving film, one that I found unbelievably sad, and it's certainly got these tear ducts working. This film is an adaptation of an M.L. Stedman novel of the same name, and it's written for the screen and directed by Derek Cianfrance, a name that people may know from directing Blue Valentine a few years ago, and The Place Beyond the Pines, a film that I really admired for the way in which it told its story. The Light Between Oceans boasts incredibly powerful performances from the lead three actors, Michael Fassbender, Alicia Vikander and Rachel Weisz. The story follows Fassbender's character of Tom, a man who has experienced World War I at first hand, and he is now looking to get as far away from the rest of humanity as possible. The perfect opportunity arises for him when he gets offered the job of being a lighthouse keeper on a remote island called Janus off the coast of Australia. He takes the job straight away, and it's on his way to this island in a nearby port town that he meets Alicia Vikander's character Isabel. She is from a prim and proper family, but there aren't really any other men around in the area, so when she meets Michael Fassbender's character, she falls in love at first sight, just like we all do when we see Fassbender. Their spark ignites and they fall in love, and he asks her to marry him and move to the remote lighthouse island with him. She accepts, and soon after setting up their home there, they want to start a family, but after a few complications in having a baby, they realise that Isabel cannot bear children. This sends them into the depths of despair and hopelessness, but then suddenly a miraculous thing happens. A boat washes up on the shore, and in it is a newborn baby. But there's also a dead man's body in there, and this raises the dilemma for them. What do they do? Do they keep the baby, or do they report to the authorities that a baby has been found? They obviously decide to keep the baby and raise her, but then difficulties arise when they meet the mother of the baby. It's their conflicted feelings at this point and the overwhelming feeling of guilt that is the crux of The Light Between Oceans, and this is where the story, in my eyes, really begins. I'll admit at this point I was surprised by The Light Between Oceans, and I think this is because of the marketing for the film. It's definitely been advertised as just a romance story, when really it is so much more than that. The film covers such a wide spectrum of emotions, but like I said before, it is guilt that is at the heart of the story, and the way in which the three main actors portray what guilt can mean is really beautiful. One of the first things that I really admired about The Light Between Oceans was the attention to the intricacy of the detail in the film and creating this period setting. Often I find that films that focus on a historical setting like this one tend to skimp on the overall world building and set design, costume design, things like that. This leads to a certain detachment from the story, but The Light Between Oceans definitely doesn't falter in this regard, and that is a great thing. In fact, that superb level of detail has twice the importance in a film like this, one that focuses on only one or two locations and on a few characters. Speaking of locations, the cinematography in The Light Between Oceans is exceptional. It's beautiful, both of the island and of the characters. The best way I can put it is the images of the island and the coast is like one of those scented candles that says sea breeze on it. It just smells so refreshing and soft, and you just want to get lost in it. On the subject of directing, Cianfrance is someone who we know can get the best out of his actors from looking at his other films. The Light Between Oceans is no different because he honestly gets some of the best performances I've seen from these particular actors, and that is no small feat because these actors have given some great performances in the past. Michael Fassbender in particular is someone who gives such a powerful, heartfelt performance, and Cianfrance is someone who's talked about Fassbender in a way that Fassbender is typically all about the mind and giving quite intelligent and brainy performances, but in this one it's all coming from the heart rather than the brain, and I think that describes Fassbender's performance perfectly. In the same way, Cianfrance said for the character of Isabel that he wanted to get someone who could give the type of performance that Gina Rowlands gives in A Woman Under the Influence. Now that is a lot to ask for, and I don't think Alicia Vikander quite reaches those heights, but she certainly gives a very good performance in this film. The top performance in this film for me though is from Rachel Weisz. Hers is one full of sorrow and melancholy, and it got me right here. This film is a lot more nuanced than it seems at first glance. You can tell that it was a project of Derek Cianfrance's that he really got enveloped in, one that he put his heart and soul truly into. In that respect though, it may have been to the film's detriment. At times some of the story feels like it's a tad cliched, and some of the embellishments just seem to linger a bit too long. I almost fell into the trap of thinking that this story is lacking, but honestly that's just because of the overpowering emotional resonance that is given from the actors. The story actually doesn't lack at all, it's just because the characters and their emotional performances are at the centre of this film that you sometimes may get distracted from what the story is trying to say. Overall, The Light Between Oceans was a surprise for me. I greatly enjoyed it. It's a very sad film, one that will tug at your heartstrings and you probably will need some tissues handy, but it's a cathartic experience to have in the cinema. For all of those reasons, I'm going to give The Light Between Oceans 4 out of 5 stars. So there we go. I really enjoyed The Light Between Oceans, but I want to know what you thought about it. Did it have the same emotional impact on you? Please let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching these videos of mine, and if you want to keep up to date with these videos as soon as they go up, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. I'll be back with more film reviews very soon, but until then, goodbye everyone.